Hey, the Hall of Fame, New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, which is headed up by Rennie LaRue, that I will be a part of, Master of Ceremonies. Well, sort of. I mean, I'll have some. There's like several Master of Ceremonies. I will be one of them, and looking forward to meeting all these great names that are now going into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, and one of them is Andy Van Slyke.
You're a Pirates fan.
I am a Pirates fan. Grew up in Pennsylvania, Altoona. Went to a lot of Pirate games at Three Rivers Stadium. Andy Van Slyke joins us here on Big Board Sports. Good morning, Andy. Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado, ESPN Radio in Albany. How you doing?
Good morning. You mean Three Misery Stadium?
Come on, man. Chuck Tanner back in the day. Loved it.
Well, it has nothing to do with the team. It has nothing to do with the city. I love Pittsburgh. Great baseball town. But, you know, they went from the worst baseball field for a lot of years to the best baseball field as we speak today. So it was a long time coming, but that place was not the best place to play at the major league level.
And you spent, what, 8 years there?
I spent 8 years tearing my body apart on that concrete AstroTurf. Yes, I did.
4 in St. Louis, 1 in Philly, 1 in Baltimore, and you'll be in Albany in just a few weeks. What does it mean, Andy, to be inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a great honor, and you know, when you consider the elements in which a lot of players like myself have to grow up in New York State, the mere fact that anybody plays baseball at the major league level is a testament to the God-given talent that they have, because it's a catch-up game. You know, I didn't play many games growing up, so you're catching up with all the kids from California and Florida and Texas, and so, you know, when you look at some of the great names, you know, that are being inducted, excluding myself, obviously, in a couple of weeks, you know, it says a lot that, you know, New York State does produce a lot of great baseball players, in spite of the fact that I think there's a lot of things going against them.
Andy, I know we want to get your thoughts on this World Series and this postseason, and even some of, you know, just today's game. But correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like some of the more visceral memories of a professional athlete are in defeat. I know they certainly are, and you'll laugh as with a fan. Like, I'm a Braves fan, so 96, losing that World Series, seeing the Braves lose that World Series to the Yankees, for me, it will always kind of be etched in my memory. Is there a game or a series that really sticks out to you? Like, man, I wish we had that one back.
Well, yeah, I think there's 2 games. For me personally, it was the 1985 World Series, Game 6, when you had the famous missed call at first base with Don Deckinger, the umpire. Now, if we had replay, you know, the interesting thing about replay is Whitey Herzog, back during his time managing, even back in the 80s, was a big advocate for having instant replay during the playoffs. He just thought that even though we didn't have high definition television, there was enough cameras, enough angles that you could probably get a call correct. He wanted it just for the playoffs. So
interesting.
If that had happened, I think Game 6 would have been won by my team, the St. Louis Cardinals, and we would have went on to win the World Series if that call with Don Deckinger at first base had been reversed. And obviously, the 1992, as you know, the Francisco Cabrera base hit to left field that scored Sid Bream.
Right.
I mean, those are two ones that are really hard to swallow in my career.
Do you get over that? Are you like, you know, I bring it up stupidly, I know, but do you?
Well, actually, I'm not. I got to go see my psychiatrist. Of course I'm over it. Life goes on. It's a baseball game.
Sid Bream. There's that. Now
Yeah.
you
We're a pirate.
love those names of the past. Andy was with the Buccos, 85 to 94. Did they?
No, 87.
Oh, 87.
87.
Okay. Did they have the they had the Slyke Zone, didn't they?
The what?
The Slyke Zone. I remember something called the Slyke Zone in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that was any grass that was in the outfield, which I was considered mine.
No, because you always were noted for this really good arm, accurate throw from the outfield. I can just I remember something called the Slyke Zone.
No place was safe if a ball was hitting the outfield.
I like that.
There's no question about it.
Yeah. So there you go. What are you doing? And then I know you got into coaching a little bit, right? Were you with Leland in Detroit for a year or so?
I was with Leland in Pittsburgh. I've also been in Seattle, coaching at the major league level. So, I've been on both sides of it. I got to really appreciate, in a way that a lot of players don't get to see the other side, the coaching side, the commitment side, the preparation time. And, it's in some ways, playing the game is a lot easier than coaching or managing it.
And you also wrote some books too, right?
2 books, yep. 2 books are, I think they got up as high as 102,000 on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's, or maybe it got to 99,000. So I did crack the 100,000 level. So I think it was one of those deals.
All right, let me ask you this: what do you expect tonight after the craziness on Sunday and that 5-hour, 17-minute game, 13-12? What do you expect tonight in the Game 6?
Man, I really think Houston's, with Verlander going, it's a shutdown game. I mean, the way he's been pitching, he's such a workhorse, and mentally he's better than he's ever been. I coached in Detroit when he was a rookie. His first 4 years in the big leagues, I got to see him progress as a starting pitcher. The guy used to throw the baseball to the catcher, and now he throws the baseball to the hitters, and he allows the hitters to get themselves out. He understands that in certain circumstances during the game that he actually wants contact, where that didn't take place the first half of his career. So he's actually learned how to be a flamethrower and a pitcher, and so he's a very, very dangerous guy for the Dodgers to be facing tonight. And I wouldn't be shocked if he goes 8 or 9 innings.
Andy, I don't know how much thought you put into this the way we in the media do, but like 300 is that marquee number for a starting pitcher. If you just blindly asked me, is Justin Verlander a Hall of Famer, I would lean towards saying yes. And I just pulled up his career numbers. He's 188 and 114 in his career. So, I mean, he won't even sniff 300. He'll go over 200, of course. But yes. Do you think we need to kind of reevaluate the way we look at numbers in baseball when it pertains to the Hall of Fame? Yeah.
Yes, I think the numbers have become at least in the past. Now I think it's changing a little bit. That used to be the fundamental or the foundation of why a guy would get in or out. I think the way baseball is today, with the amount of teams, I think you need to look at a pitcher or a player in a position. Is he the best player at his position for a generation? Is he the best player? Is he the best hitter for his generation? Is he the best defensive catcher of his generation? I think when you start doing that, you start redefining what I think should be the criteria for a player to get in the Hall of Fame. And that, in my opinion, Justin Verlander, as far as the right-handed pitchers goes, is the best right-handed pitcher of his generation, and there's really no reason why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Interesting. Good stuff with Andy Van Slyke. Will you ad-lib your speech on November 12th? You write it all down? I don't know. I've never done one. So I guess I'm ad-libbing right now. You're pretty good. I think you should ad-lib. Just take some notes up there. I just got to make sure I say a couple things. I think it would probably be important to recognize at least my wife, who's been stuck with me for 35 years, that she had something to do with my career. So if I forget her, don't do that. It'll be a long plane ride home. Do not do that. At least got a cue card up there that has her name on it right at the top. Wife. I'm going to have one word on my speech. Wife.
And Raj, we should mention Andy's son Scott is a terrific baseball player as well. How about this stat? In 2012, Scott was part of a Dodgers lineup that featured 5 sons of former major leaguers. It was Scott Van Slyke, Dee Gordon, Jerry Hairston Jr., Tony Gwynn Jr., and Ivan DeJesus Jr. Crazy. Yeah. So, I don't think that's ever happened before. No. I think from what I read, that was the first time in history of Major League Baseball. And how is Scott doing these days? Well, last couple of years been hurt a little bit. He got traded to the Reds halfway through the season. So I don't really know what's going to happen. It's kind of up in the air. I think he'll probably have to go to spring training and try to make the team, make the Reds. If not, maybe some other team would like him. But at 31 years old, he's had some success.
at the big league level. He can hit left-handed pitching. He can play first base, left field. He can fill in at center field. He can play right field. So he can be a valuable player for a team. I think here's the interesting thing about Scott. He's a really valuable player on a good team. Not a bad team, but a good team, because you can trust them. You can trust that you know what you're going to get when you put them in the lineup. So, most bad teams are trying to figure out whether guys are everyday players or not. But he would be a terrific role player if he can start hitting again a little bit.
Andy Van Slyke, we appreciate a few minutes. Look forward to meeting you on November 12th. Congrats on your induction into the Hall of Fame, and look forward to hearing what you have to say in a couple of weeks here in Albany.
All right. Look forward to see you guys.
Thank you,
Andy.